Hey everyone, welcome to another video of Nameless Things. So today I thought I'd show off my most expensive and one of my most favorite comic books in my entire collection. So this is Spider-Man and Batman Disordered Minds from 1995. So this was written by DeMatteis and it has artwork done by Mark Bagley, and I think this was one of the few times that Mark Bagley did Batman. And also this is such an amazing Marvel DC crossover with the two most iconic characters from each industry. Spider-Man is literally the face of Marvel and Batman is the face of DC. So to see both of them come together in this issue, it is just so awesome. And I just had to do a video on this comic now after hearing the recent news of how Marvel and DC is coming back together to do a collab project later this year. So I'm excited to see what that will be about, and I definitely hope we get to see these two characters teaming up, or at least variants of these two characters meeting up and teaming up. And what also makes this book so awesome is the fact that Batman and Spider-Man are kind of similar in the fact that the tragedies that were that they faced early on in their lives is what shaped them to be the heroes that they both are. And obviously they both have different style. I mean, Spider-Man is a superhuman being and Batman is a regular guy who's extremely rich and very well trained, no doubt. But still, it's their willpower to always save a life and to to ensure that other people don't have to go through that pain and tragedy that they themselves had to go through. So that's what makes both of these characters so great. So let's do a dive in. And also, before we do a dive in, be sure to hit the like button and share this with your friends, and you can subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more such videos. So we have got it out of the cover, and as you can see, this is beautifully spot varnished over here. A beautiful the bat signal with the Spider-Man signal, because both of them have their own signal. Spider-Man had it in his belt, and Gotham has the bat signal. So well done. You can see the spot varnish over here, Spider-Man and Batman. I was lucky enough to find this on Amazon itself, but this is quite expensive. It costed me like roughly somewhere between $70 to $75. So it is a bit expensive, but because it's a collab book and it such important characters, so obviously it's a bit expensive, but it is so cool. And you can see it has DeMatteis and Mark Bagley artwork, Marvel Comics and DC over here. Also, taking a look at the back, you can see both the Spider-Man and the bat signal over here, the spider signal, the bat signal. And you can see there's a small bio here about Spider-Man and Batman, and you have here Disordered Minds as the title. And this is not the only issue in which these two teamed up. There was another story where they teamed up to fight Kingpin and Ra's al Ghul. I do not have that story. I don't have that comic book. It came out the next year. Like, this was in 1995. That came out in 1996. Opening up here, you can see here it has about Disordered Minds, and you have here, we do not have to visit a madhouse to find Disordered Minds. Our planet is the mental institution of the universe. Okay, I don't know which sad soul wrote that, but okay. And starting up here, we have the horrible flashback of Spider-Man where the night where Uncle Ben died, where the killer broke into his house and shot Uncle Ben. And Peter is living in that that nightmare of not being able to stop it. And you can see that person who apparently has killed Uncle Ben. In this dream, it looks to be like Joker, who's laughing horribly, and Peter wakes up. And that's a smart thing, because here it's Joker in Peter's dream, but there in Batman's dream of his parents being killed, it was Carnage. And you can see he's sleeping here with he's with Mary Jane, and she's just caught up. And I really miss these early issues, man, of where these two characters work together, and because I really feel these two characters were best together. Especially if you read some of their early comics, they were really good. The relationship was nice, and Marvel in recent times has just screwed that completely, and that's something I'll never forgive them for. I don't know why the hell they went ahead and did that. So we got this cool Mark Bagley artwork of Spider-Man swinging through the night city over here, and the fateful night that Batman was born and Bruce Wayne had suffered a horrible event, where his parents got murdered in that alley, and he's just a child. And you can see Batman here in the background not being able to do anything. And as I told, see this scream and this laughter here looks very much like Carnage's mouth, and I like how they've swapped out those two characters in each other's dream. And I think at some point I remember hearing somewhere that Carnage was created at Marvel as a competition to Joker, to have a psychotic villain. And I mean, Carnage was a pretty big hit when he came out, so I guess Marvel did a good job with that. You can can see here, this is Bruce Wayne. Alfred coming in to check on him, but Bruce Wayne is someone who, I think at least his grown Bruce Wayne, is not someone who wants to acknowledge or confront the feelings that trouble him. So whenever that moment for that arises, he swings out as Batman. And again, Mark Bagley has done a beautiful artwork here of Batman swinging through the nights of Gotham. Spider-Man is now at the raft looking at Carnage, who is currently captured and undergoing treatment, I guess. Well, not treatment, but he's definitely imprisoned. And yep, he breaks out over here, but luckily Spider-Man is already on the scene here to stop him. He does get stopped, and there's this other doctor here called Cassandra Breyer who wants to take in Carnage and reform him by adding some kind of chip into his brain to make him normal and less insane and psychotic. Obviously Spider-Man and this other doctor is not so hot of the idea, but I guess they don't have a say in the matter. And this switches to Gotham City, where the Joker is laughing insanely. Yep, Joker's wreaking havoc, and Batman arrives. Did he just... yeah, he gave him a neck bite. I think that's going to leave a serious hickey on Batman's neck. He captures him, and he's being transported. Carnage is being also transported, and oh yeah, at this point she's already inserted that chip into Cletus Cassidy's brain to make him normal, and it appears that it has reformed him and he's lost his insanity. And they did that to Joker as well, but guess again it wasn't as easy as it looks like, because the Carnage symbiote that was there in his body already broke down the inhibitor chip the moment they installed it, which is what he said. See, it short circuited that little chip, and Cletus Cassidy is back as Carnage. And Carnage wastes no time in wreaking havoc, as in he starts taking in the people accumulated there, because they wanted to make a press statement to show that how they have cured Cletus Cassidy and the Joker. But obviously now Carnage has an audience, and it looks like Batman is there as well, disguised as the guards, and he's standing facing off against Carnage over here. Until finally Spider-Man decides to swing in as well, and this is where the characters first meet. Batman and Spider-Man first meet in Gotham City over here, fighting off against each other. Seeing this, I think there's was one debate about how Batman always conveniently escapes because of the plot armor that's always in his favor and with prep time. But I think it should be realistically made that Batman is still just a human being, and he can't win all the fights. So I think some true genuine fans will acknowledge the fact that there are some fights that even Batman cannot win, because of course if any hero is prepared, why would they ever lose in the first place? Heroes are tasked with the challenge of facing things that they have never faced before. So I guess with with that concept in mind, there's got to be, it's natural that there will be so many times that Batman cannot win a fight, and I think that's what made some of the other OG books of Batman so good. And as you can see here, Batman and Spider-Man have I think they've rescued the citizens who were attacked by Carnage, and now they're at least Spider-Man thinks they're going to team up, but Batman clearly does not want his help and tells him to leave. But Spider-Man's not one who's going to be pushed around either, and says that whether you want my help or not, I'm going to stay here and solve this mess. And here Carnage is doing the same thing to Joker what the symbiote did to him, as in that reach into him and break that circuitry or short circuit that inhibitor and make him insane again. And as you can see, the Joker wastes no time. He's not the least bit fazed by Carnage's appearance or what he can do. And yeah, as you can see here, they seem to be hitting it off because both of them are psychotic. And Batman is in his lair trying to go through the history of Carnage and trying to come up with some contingency plan, until he realizes that he's going to need some first-hand knowledge, and it shifts to Spider-Man swinging across Gotham looking for Carnage as well, until Batman finally shows up to the spot and asks Spider-Man to join him. But here on the other side, while Batman and Spider-Man are getting along, Carnage and Joker seem to have hit a roadblock, because They discuss about the way they want to unalive people, and they commit a difference because Carnage just wants to do it in the impulse, and Joker wants to do it slowly. Quite apt to how we saw it in Dark Knight, where he wants to use knife because in the last moments he gets to see how people are and all that. So Joker wants to sadistically enjoy every second of it, while Carnage just wants to be done and dusted with it and move on. And obviously that's not doing well for their new formed friendship, if you can call it that. Yeah, and you have the Batmobile here, Spider-Man and Batman going to the site, and they see the rubble of where the fight happened between the Joker and Carnage. Yep, and they find a body which they think is Joker, but it isn't. This is a similar tactic that Carnage tried using in the Maximum Carnage series, and he gets to Batman and he's about to kill him, but Joker shows up. And as you can see here, Joker is threatening Carnage that if he does kill Batman, then he's going to unleash his Joker virus onto the whole city, killing everyone. And obviously, Carnage is not so hot of the idea because he wants to unalive others but doesn't want to die himself, and that creates a kind of friction in the bond between him and the symbiote, and that's all Batman needs to make his move. And while this fight is going on, other interesting thing is the narrating here in each of their mind voices, where Batman is also saying that people like the Joker and Cletus Cassidy, they're not it's not that they're not afraid of death, but it's just that they're trying to suppress that fear by thinking that if they kill others, then they can escape that from themselves, and how everyone has some fear or wounds in their mind, but some people with grace grow up to become men, like Batman and Spider-Man. And as you can see, Joker's trying to escape, and then there's a spider signal over here, and he's saying, I hope Commissioner Gordon doesn't hear about this. Oh god. And you can see Spider-Man versus Joker here. I mean, Joker's just a dude, so it shouldn't be difficult for Spider-Man to get him. But yeah, I think if Joker did exist in the Marvel universe, Spider-Man would be another character he would love to torment a lot, play a lot of emotional games on him. And I think Spider-Man is that's why Spider-Man is such a strong character, because Joker always says it takes one bad day to become me, but Spider-Man's gone through a lifetime of such horrible days and he's still standing and being a superhero. So yeah, I think Spider-Man would be one of those unbreakable characters that Joker would just die to irritate. And yeah, he gets a Joker over here, and Batman and Spider-Man are just wrapping things up, and then they go about their separate ways until we see them in the next issue next year. So that was the story of Spider-Man and Batman Disordered Minds from 1995. Overall, it's a cool issue. I mean, the story is fairly simple. It's just a one-shot comic. They just meet and they meet the villains there, and the whole story wraps up pretty quickly. It's not an elaborate story of 5 or 6 issues, which obviously I would love. But it's just one of those small collabs between the two major comic book industries, and it's still pretty cool. I just think Spider-Man and Batman are two people who would definitely get along because of their morals. And Spider-Man is a cheerful character, Batman is like a brooding character, but so I think it will be pretty cool to see them team up, or even a face-off. We've never gotten a face-off between them, and I really think it will be a 50-50, man. I think anyone could win. I mean, especially if we're talking about a first time with no prep time. First off, with no prep time, I think Batman is one character who's extremely skilled and he's extremely focused, and of course Spider-Man has a lot of superior strength when it comes to fighting against Batman, and he has a spider sense, but he's also always talkative, and he's not as focused and skilled as a fighter as Batman. So he has his strength and spider sense, and he has extreme skill and focus, so I think that balances out for each other. So I really think it could be anyone's fight. So unless it's like a proper fist fight, and then Batman and then Spider-Man, he's like in his symbiote arc, and then Batman's dead. He's definitely getting the Bane treatment again. But otherwise, I think it's a 50-50. Or what do you guys think? Who do you think would actually win in a first time fight between Spider-Man and Batman? Let me know in the comments below, and I will catch you guys next time.